You know that feeling, that sudden, awful, seizing pain of a muscle cramp? We've all been there. But what's really going on? Is it just random bad luck, or is your body actually trying to tell you something important? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
All right, so let's start with the feeling itself, that sudden, painful seizure. Before we get into the why, we got to understand the what of this universal experience.
I mean, seriously, who hasn't had this happen? You're sound asleep, dreaming away, and then bam! You're jolted awake because your calf muscle has decided to turn into a solid rock. It's like your body just slammed on an emergency brake you had no idea was even there.
And really, when you get right down to it, that's all it is. An abrupt, involuntary muscle spasm. Your muscle just tenses up, all on its own, without your permission. But you know, that simple definition kind of hides the much more complex story of what's really happening inside your body.
So what is a muscle cramp, really? What's going on from a physiological standpoint when your muscle decides to revolt? Let's take a look at the science behind it.
Okay, so on a biological level, a cramp is basically your muscle fibers going haywire. They contract hard, and then they just refuse to let go. And the source material tells us this is often caused by a couple of key things. Problems with your circulation, or much more commonly, just good old-fashioned physical exertion.
And you've probably noticed they tend to pop up in the same familiar places, right? Your foot, your fingers, and of course, the infamous calf muscle. And that's no accident. It's because these are the muscles we tend to hold in fixed positions or use for those fine, repetitive movements.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. We can basically split the causes into two big buckets. Think of it this way. A cramp is either caused by something you do or it's caused by something you lack. It's either an action problem or a supply problem. But no matter which path you go down, you end up in the same painful spot.
So let's tackle that first category, the physical triggers. This is all about what you're doing with your body, those repetitive motions that wear your muscles down.
The source material uses a fantastic phrase here, monotonous repetitive motion. It's not always about one big, sudden, awkward movement, though that can certainly do it. It's more often about doing the same small thing over and over and over again. And listen, we're not just talking about being an elite athlete here. This is everyday life stuff. Think about it. Typing on a keyboard all day, clicking a computer mouse, standing on your feet for an entire shift, or, yeah, of course, a really intense workout. All of these things fatigue very specific muscle groups, making them ripe for a cramp.
All right, so that's the physical side of things, but what about the other side of the coin? That brings us to our second major cause, internal imbalances. This is all about your body's chemistry and its internal signaling system. See, sometimes the problem isn't what you're doing, it's what your body is missing. Your muscles are misfiring because they're literally running low on the essential ingredients they need to work the way they're supposed to. We're talking about key minerals and salts.
And the two big players here are a lack of calcium salts and a lack of potassium salts. You can kind of think of these electrolytes as the traffic cops for your muscles. They're the ones telling your muscles when to contract and when to relax. When you don't have enough of them, the signals get all crossed up and, well, you end up with a cramp.
Okay, so that's the what, but it leads to the obvious next question, right? Why on earth would you be low on these critical minerals in the first place?
Well, there are a few usual suspects. Intense exercise is a big one. You literally sweat these crucial salts out. Certain medications, like diuretics, can also flush them out of your system. And something as simple as dehydration can throw your entire electrolyte balance out of whack. But hang on. See that first one? Intense exercise is back on the list. That means it's a double whammy. It fatigues your muscles and depletes your minerals at the same time. No wonder it's such a common trigger for cramps.
Okay, so we've got the physical pathway and the internal chemical pathway. Let's try to connect all these dots and bring it together in one quick, clear summary.
So here it is, the whole picture in one place. You've got your physical triggers from that repetitive motion, typing, standing, exercise. Then you've got the internal imbalances, right? That lack of calcium and potassium. And what causes that? Well, things like exercise, dehydration, or diuretics. You can see how it all connects and how one thing can easily lead to another.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the most important takeaway here? It's this: cramps are not random. They are not pointless pain. They are signals. They're your body's very direct, very loud way of telling you, hey, something isn't right here. So the next time one of your muscles seizes up in that awful, painful way, instead of just cursing at it, try asking yourself this question. What is it telling me? Am I overworking this muscle with the same motion again and again? Or am I maybe dehydrated and need to get some electrolytes back in my system? Your muscles are talking. It's time to start listening.